Welcome to the Amazing Authorities Podcast, where game changers, visionaries, and category leaders share how they built their brands, platforms, and global influence. Your host is Mitch Carson, international speaker, media strategist, and creator of the Instant Authority System. If you're ready to learn from those who've done it and want to become the go-to expert in your space, you're in the right place.
Stanley Bronstein is our amazing authority today on the Amazing Authorities podcast. He has earned that distinction because wait till you get to the results. I look at people's results. I'm quite black and white in terms of airy-fairiness or reality. And Stanley is well seated in reality as to what it takes in order to be successful in life, successful with your health, and successful with your mindset. And Stanley, welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me, Mitch. Good to be here.
I'm going to jump right in with the most evergreen topic in America and through most Western civilizations. I think it's our weight and what is behind that. You yourself went on an incredible weight loss journey. You lost over 200 pounds. How did you do that? I just have to ask.
First of all, answer your question. What is behind it? Money.
Okay.
We'll talk about that. Like so many things.
Okay.
Money from people who want to make money off of us. Okay. Anyway, okay, what happened? Okay, my obesity started. My mother died when I was 8.
Okay.
And that messed with my head. And here I am living with my massively obese father. And we both just ate ourselves into oblivion. I started getting bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. A lot of men like to brag that they're as small as they were when they got married. Well, I'm smaller than I was when I got bar mitzvahed at 13.
Jeez.
Yeah, Jesus, right. I mean, at my max, I got up to 367 pounds. Like there's a picture here. I had, for those if they're listening without a picture, I had a 58-inch waist. And
How tall are you, Stanley?
5'7".
Okay. All right. So that is huge for that frame.
Yes. And today I have about a 31-inch waist.
Good for you.
Yeah. Big difference. No drugs, no surgeries. I will work with people. If people did want to do the drugs or have had the surgeries, I'll still work with them. I'm not going to shame somebody. But if they come to me and say, do I need those things to lose weight? My answer is going to be, no, you don't. And here's why. Now, where I really, I had many times in my life where I lost weight and then put it back on, lost weight and put it back on. Well, as I was getting ready to turn 50, 4 months before my 50th birthday, I had February 1st, 2009, almost a little over 17 years ago. I woke up and I said to myself, where am I going to be in 5 years if I keep doing what I'm doing? And I didn't like the answer.
Okay.
Would you care to guess what the answer was?
Dead.
Dead. And guess what? I didn't want to be dead. So I said, I need to make some changes right now. Not tomorrow, not next week, not next month, not next year, right now. Now, if you notice, that was February 1st, not January 1st. The reason it was February 1st is because I made New Year's resolutions January 1st and I didn't keep them. I had quit. But come February 1st, I said, hey, no more, baby. I turned to my wife. I said, I'm done. I'm cooked. I did not hit rock bottom. I hadn't had a heart attack yet. Hadn't had a stroke yet. Knees hadn't given out yet. All those things were coming. As I like to say, I was committing slow-acide.
Yes, I like that.
I was slowly killing myself, eating myself to death. But I made the changes before all that happened. So I said, I'm going to do 4 things. And the first one was I quit drinking alcohol. I used to drink scotch every day. Was I an alcoholic? I don't know. It doesn't matter. All that matters is I said that the alcohol was not serving me. I was serving it. So I took my last bottle of scotch. I believe in symbolism here. I poured it down the toilet. I hit flush. I haven't had a drink in 17 years and I don't miss it. Then those 2-liter bottles of soda pop. I was drinking 3 of them a day.
Oh my gosh.
But they were diet caffeine free, so surely they were healthy, right?
Oh, of course.
No, but the soda companies who want to make money off of us, there we go. We're going to talk about the money.
Okay.
They
All
want to
right.
make money off of us. They tell us, oh, it's diet caffeine free. It's healthy. Drink this crap. Well, it's crap. I took my last bottle of soda, poured it down the toilet, hit flush. Haven't had one in 17 years. Don't miss it. Then I said I want to make some dietary change. I gave up red meat, beef and pork. And when you consider that my father was a butcher and I grew up in a house with unlimited free meat, that was quite an accomplishment to give up beef and pork, but I did. And and then I said, I'm going to start trying to walk every day. And when I first started walking, I could only walk 2 or 3 blocks. And I live at the top of a very steep street. So I used to huff and puff. I could barely make it up the street to get back home. Had a lot of trouble. So I started going to the gym early in the morning that had a pool that wasn't busy. And I would walk laps in the pool.
Oh,
I did
that's
it
good.
for, it was good because it wasn't hard on my knees.
Right, right.
I did it.
Hydrotherapy, I guess, huh?
Yes, I did it for an hour, 2 hours a day, 3 hours. Before I was building up, I wanted to do a 5 hour pool walk on my 50th birthday. And I did. I made it. I did one on my 50th birthday. 2 days later, I did one for 5.5 hours. So kept going. And by the time I reached my 50th birthday, I'd lost about 50 pounds. Then I started walking outside.
Over what period of time was that? I'm sorry. I want to just make sure people
Four
get
months, 4 months.
in 4 months. So that's about 12 pounds a month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well, first of all, when I started, the first week or two, I didn't lose an ounce because I think my metabolism was so messed up that I just didn't lose anything. But there's a point to be made here. What I did differently this time from the previous times I had lost weight was not only did I get started, I did not stop. I had failures. I messed up. I had good days. I had bad days. I am not perfect. You are not perfect. None of us are perfect. We're going to make mistakes. The question is, do we learn from those mistakes? Mistakes are proof that you're trying.
Oh, I love
So,
that.
so I said, okay, I'm going to keep going. I got started and I did not stop. So then I started walking outside. Then after about 4 or 5 years of that, I said, I'm going to make another dietary change. I went vegetarian. I gave up chicken and turkey and I never liked fish. So I went vegetarian. I was still eating eggs and dairy. Since the date I did that, I've been sick one time in 12 years. And that was 3 days, 4 years into the process. And I think a lot of that was my body throwing off toxins from the losing the weight. It wasn't because I got exposed to something that made me sick. When I got exposed to COVID, my wife went to the airport, caught it in the airport and brought COVID home. The minute she stepped into the car, I knew she had it. I could feel it. Something was off.
She was a carrier.
Yeah,
In full blown.
she had it, but I could tell. She hadn't been tested yet, but I knew she had it. For 2 days, I was 75%, but I still did my walking activity. I still stuck to my diet, and then my body threw it off. So when I got exposed to COVID, because of the dietary things I do and the walking that I do, and I also had the vaccines. I'm sure that didn't hurt, but my body threw it off. So I'm a big believer in healthy nutrition. I think that helps us a lot. Um,
Organic or
no,
not?
doesn't have to be organic. If it is, wonderful. And like I'll give you an example. I have you might be able to see it. I have it's not lit now. I have a hydroponic garden
Oh,
that
yes.
I've got that I've got in my office where I'm growing some veggies and stuff. So far I've gotten 10 salads out of it, and considering it cost me $1,000, they've been $100 a salad. But but I'm
Always
gonna get
the
a lot.
accountant.
But I'm gonna get a lot more out of it.
Okay.
So it's good and it's delicious, wonderful. If you like bok choy, I've got the most beautiful bok choy you've ever seen. So anyway, so I tell people I learned this. I did that for a few years, And then I got to a point where I reached 180 pounds and I could not get the rest of the weight off of me. It just, by that time, I was walking 10 to 15 miles every day. That was probably 15 to 25 kilometers every day.
How
And I
long
could
did
not,
that take you?
I walk at 2.25 miles an hour. So it was taking me, 5, 6 hours a day,
Wow.
you
Okay.
know, but I work from home. I work for myself. Plus I have a treadmill at home and I put a computer on the treadmill and I can sit there and work while I'm on the treadmill.
Okay.
I do that all the time. In fact, one of these days when I do one of these appearances, I'm going to do it when I'm on the treadmill. I don't do it because it's a little distracting when I'm bouncing up and down kind of thing.
Sure.
But so I said, why can't I get below 180 pounds when I'm doing all this walking? So I said, I need to make another dietary change. I went vegan. I gave up butter, cheese, and ice cream. And you know what happened? I lost 50 pounds in like 5 minutes. I mean, I was getting up every morning, lost another pound, lost another pound, lost another pound, lost another pound. It was exciting to get on the scale. I mean, when you were doing that. But so it was good. And then I finally got down to where I am today, which is around 145 pounds.
Gee.
And all with no drugs, no surgeries. And the funny thing is, because I lost it so slowly and I exercised along the way, my skin tightened up. I didn't get left with all this flabby skin like most people do. So very fortunate. That was another thing I learned from the experience. Now, things I learned out of this. First thing is temporary change is going to give you temporary results. Permanent change is going to give you permanent results.
I love that. I
What
love
I
that.
did, what I did differently was this time my changes were permanent. And I learned three things out of the experience. The first thing is I am more powerful than I ever imagined. I went from a 367-pound man who could barely walk 2 blocks to a 145-pound man who walks 10 to 15 miles every day. I'm actually on a streak right now. I have walked a half marathon or more every day for the last 14 months.
So it's an inviolate practice.
Yeah, I do it. I'm 100% committed to it. I do. It's who I am. My identity has changed. And when people say, why do you do this? I do it because I can. And I do it also because I've discovered that I'm virtually limitless. I mean, I'm sure I have some kind of limits somewhere, but I'm trying to find what they are. I'm slowly stretching myself, but I'm doing it carefully and slowly because you don't want to break yourself. The goal is to build, not to break. So you do those things. And but then I learned if I'm more powerful than I ever imagined, so is everybody else. You hear that if you're listening? You are more powerful than you ever imagined. I'll repeat that. You are more powerful than you ever imagined. Believe it. Start to realize that. Learn it. Because if you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you're going to be right. So start believing you can. And then the third thing it did was it made me ask, if I could lose all this weight, if I can do all this walking, what else is out there waiting for me to do that I haven't done yet, that I should be doing? And that is what has led to what I'm doing now, which is the accountant in me, the accountant and the lawyer. I've been paid my whole career to take complicated things and make them simple. So I said, how can I turn this into a system that can be replicated by other people for whatever it is they want to do, be it weight loss, be it stop drinking, be it stop smoking, be it just get your stuff together, be it whatever, be more successful, whatever. How can I turn it into a system? A human operating system. Think of Windows 11, Mac OS, Android, Linux for how to be a human being. So I said, what's this system going to be about? Well, the first thing I realized was the goal is not perfection. The goal is excellence.
I love it. I love
Yeah.
it.
Now I'll tell you the difference. When you're a perfectionist, the only thing that's good enough is being perfect. And considering nobody's perfect, there are no perfect people, but there never have been any perfect people. You're never going to be happy. You're not going to get there. What I learned, I started telling myself, good enough is good enough. I stopped being a perfectionist and I became a good enoughist. Yes.
I love it, Stanley.
Yeah. And all these great terms. So I said, and here's the thing about good enough. You can be good enough, but that doesn't mean you can't be better. It doesn't mean you shouldn't try to be better. It just means you shouldn't beat yourself upside the head and punish yourself. Good enough is good enough. So, so I started doing that. So I said, what am I going to call this system? It's about excellence. I'm going to call it the way of excellence. And you can see by this nice color-coded chart, you can see the accountant in me. It's nice and anal. Everything's color-coded. It lines up. It's nice and pretty. Everything matches. Now, so I asked myself, what are the qualities of an excellent human being? Well, I came up with 20. And I put them in a specific order for a specific reason. They all build on each other. The first one, like any good, this is not a 12-step program, but like in any good 12-step program, they tell you admit to yourself you have a problem. So I said, number one is telling it like it is, awareness. See, but back on February 1st, 2009, when I started, I told it like it was. I said, if I don't do this, I'm going to be dead. You can't be more telling it like it is than that. But there's a second part to it. For the first time in my life, I said, I'm going to act on that. And I'm going to act on it in a manner that is consistent with step number 2 in the system, which is long-term thinking. This is a long-term game we are playing. Life is a long-term game. You know, you want to be successful, you need to permanently change for the rest of your hopefully very long, hopefully very healthy, hopefully very happy life. You need to permanently change. It's long-term game plan. I actually have a whole book on that that's on my website. Download it for free. The Law of the Long Term. And the problem is we live in a world that's all about short term. We live in a world that wants to sell us stuff. Money, money, money. It's all about the money. You know, well, as you're going to see in this program, Mitch is not going to ask you for any money, and I'm not going to ask you for any money. So maybe you should listen to us instead of the people who want your money. So then number 3 in the system, personal responsibility. I didn't blame my mother for dying when I was 8 years old. I didn't blame my father for not teaching me how to eat properly and letting me eat like crap and letting me get big and big and big. I didn't blame my father for not sending me to counseling. The reality is that was 1967, and back then, nobody sent their kids to counseling.
Yeah, I had to go in 1970.
Yeah, okay, that's interesting.
So
That's interesting that they sent you. They sent you
she
that.
did, because I had behavioral problems, etc. But that's another topic. Yeah, I agree. It was a lot more. It was a lot less sensitive to what kids wanted and ADD and all these other acronyms that were there during that time, because we're the same age
Yeah,
and
yeah,
we're the same time. Yeah.
yeah, and it's not their fault. Doesn't matter. And while I was at it, I didn't blame myself. You know why? Because blame is irrelevant. Blame does not fix problems. If you're a politician in Washington, D.C., listen to that. Blame does not fix problems. All that fixes problems is figuring out what needs to be done and then doing it. So I sat down and I said, what needs to be done? Well, what needs to be done is I need to quit drinking. I need to quit drinking soda pop, and I need to start eating better, and I need to start walking every day. That's what needs to be done. And I started doing it. That's all that matters. I didn't beat myself upside the head. I didn't punish myself. Now look, my history. If I could go back and change things I went through, would I do that? Absolutely. But I have no regrets for what I went through because the truth is it was necessary for me to go through those things to learn what I know now.
Yeah, you know, I want to touch on your blame component right there.
Go ahead.
Blame is irrelevant. I have a friend, I'm 41 years sober myself through
Good.
AA. And he dropped his blame thrower before recovery took place. I thought that was great. Traction
Yeah.
starts when you drop your blame thrower. And I
Yes, it
thought
does.
it was a cute play on words, but it's so
Yeah.
true. It's blame is irrelevant. It's not going to help you today.
Yeah.
It may
Not at
explain where
all.
you are a little bit, but analysis paralysis, it's about action.
See, that's one of the problems I have with psychotherapy, period. I had somebody the other day, say, why am I the way I am? And I go, why is it relevant? Why is just going to explain why you are the way you are? All that matters is what do you need to do and are you going to fix it? That's how I help people jumpstart. You can go through years of psychotherapy focused on why. It's all nice to know. I mean, yeah, I know why I did what I did. It's nice to know all those things, but it's not necessarily necessary. You want to lose weight, you want to get in shape. Well, let's talk about how you learn to eat better and how you learn to start walking, which is what I recommend because it beats your body up less than almost any other form of exercise. And you can do it almost anywhere, almost any time, and it's inexpensive. So that's what I recommend. But then I started focusing on positive, being positive, positive, positive. But then I did number 6, perspective. I changed my perspective. I stopped saying I have to eat better. I have to get up and go walking. I started saying I get to eat better. I get to go out and go walking. And it's my privilege, not my obligation. And you know how I learned that? I was accidentally taught that from a woman I had met 2 years earlier. Her name was Peggy Chun. She lived in Honolulu, Hawaii. She had Lou Gehrig's disease. She was stuck. She could not move. She was in a bedridden, on a ventilator, could not speak. The only way she could communicate with me was trained people would hold up an eye chart and they would read her eye movements. She could spell letters, from letters to spell out words. And when I saw her, the thought that went through my mind was, if I ever get like that, please put a pillow over my head and take me out.
Mm.
Well, that was not Peggy's attitude. Peggy's attitude was, my grandkids are coming over later today. We're going to go out to the park and it's a beautiful sunny day and we're going to paint in the park and we're going to have fun. She said, when I met her, it was because she was right at the very beginning of going on a nationwide tour where I was going to interview 50 people for a book I was writing. And she was one of the very first people I interviewed. And she said, you're going to talk about to 50 people? She said, tell me about all these 50 people. I want to hear about them. That sounds so exciting. I wished I could go with you. She had the most incredible joy for life. And so whenever I had a morning that I didn't feel like walking, I asked myself, instead of saying, what would Jesus do? I said, what would Peggy Chun do if she could? And the answer is Peggy Chun would have gotten her lazy ass out of bed and she'd have gone for a walk and she might not have ever come back because she was having such a good time. So every time I go walking when I don't feel like it, this is for you, Peggy. That was almost 20 years ago that I met her, still remember her. And I will remember her for the rest of my life. So she taught me something without even realizing she was teaching it to me at the time. And then I started taking actions that were consistent with what I wanted. I want to get in shape. Well, going to Chinese buffets and drinking scotch and sitting on my butt's not going to get me in shape. So I changed my actions. I started bringing healthy food to work. I started eating healthy food at home. I started walking every day. I stopped drinking alcohol. I stopped drinking soda pop. And lo and behold, I started getting in shape. Then persistence. Never give up. Never surrender. Get where you're going no matter how long it takes. There's a simple motto I have. Beat yesterday.
Oh, I
Your
love it.
goal, your goal is to be better today than you were yesterday, better tomorrow than you were today. But realize, as a human being, you're going to have good days and bad days. Sometimes you can have a bad day, and if you don't totally fall apart, then you did beat yesterday. You are doing better. Just keep going. And if you do fall apart, pick yourself up, back up, keep going. Fall down 7 times, get up 8. Keep going. You know who my favorite animal is? My favorite animal is the snail. Steady, diligent, persistent, gets where it's going no matter how long it takes. That's me.
The other one I like and I talk about is tortoise. Lives a
Yeah,
long
absolutely.
time, plods along. Rabbits get swooped up by hawks and eagles, eaten. They may be fast, but they don't play the long game. I love it.
No. Yes, one of my neighbors actually has a pet tortoise that lives in their backyard.
Yeah, they live a long time. So, Stanley, right here, I just want to go back. You've dropped so many value bombs, truth bombs. Number one, fix your brain. And well, the before that,
Between
and
your ears.
between your ears, yes, between your ears, you have to make a decision. You have to make a decision that the past does not have to equal the future, meaning
You get to make a decision.
you get
It's
to
your
make a decision.
privilege. You're still alive and breathing. It's your privilege. If you're dead, you don't get to.
Well, you made a decision. I'm just referring
Yes.
to what you did on your journey. You made a decision. I think you said 19 years ago. Was it 19?
17. 17.
17 years ago, you made a very clear decision right before you turned 50. And in your 49th year, made a decision. I don't know what it was. Maybe that was the milestone, or it was you looked in the mirror, but you made a decision nonetheless. You were going to let go and release the weight, not lose it, release it, and move forward. And you have all these little cards that you held up, very powerful little reminders. And you said something about this lady, Chen, that
Peggy Chun. Peggy
Peggy Chen.
Chun.
I thought that was valuable, sharing when you may want to stop, or you feel like you're not achieving, or the mind, the self-talk kicked in. All you did was anchor her to get off your butt and start and continue moving.
That's right.
She was your
That's right.
anchor. You anchored
Yeah.
her.
Yeah.
Do you have
And
other anchors that you use?
yeah, I mean, just, it's more, I prefer to call it commitment.
Okay,
Like, for example, I am number 19 in my system is commitment. I am 100% committed that only healthy food is going to enter my mouth.
got it.
That's
Got it.
why I do not eat processed food. I had the other day, I was out walking with my wife, and a neighbor gave us key lime pie. And she said to me right away, she said, Stanley, I know you're not going to eat it. And I said, that's okay. My wife ate some of it, um, and liked it, but she's also skinny, and she exercises and she's in good shape. But, I sat there, I'm 100% committed. I'm not going to eat that stuff. Right before Christmas, somebody gave me cookies and cupcakes, gourmet cookies and cupcakes. The thought of eating it never entered my mind. When you are 100% committed, there are no decisions to be made. See, that's what makes it easier, Mitch. When you make a bright line, 100% committed, you stop asking questions. Should I eat this food that I know is bad for me? I don't even ask the question because I already know the answer. The answer is no. The answer is hell no. And the reality is, I've already eaten my lifetime share of cookies and cupcakes, and your lifetime share, and probably 20 other people's. I don't need them anymore. And you know what's funny? I've learned that you can taste food without putting it in your mouth. I sat there, I took those cookies and cupcakes, I smelled them. I could identify the ingredients that were in there. I knew exactly what it would taste like. And I didn't eat it. And then I gave them away to a neighbor who's skinny and who loves that kind of stuff. And everybody was happy. I am 100% committed to walking every day. It has been 8 years since I last missed a day. And that was during those 3 days where I told you I was sick.
Sure, sure.
And if you would have told me, and it goes 4 years back before that, if you would have told me that those 3 days were going to interrupt a 12-year streak, I would have walked during those 3 days, even though I was sick. I would have done it anyway. So, the problem is when I was 4 years into this journey, I wasn't as committed as I was now that I'm on an 8-year streak. You know, I'm more committed, more stubborn. But when you do that, it takes away the questions. But now I want to tell you probably the number one thing I've identified. Well, two things. What do you think are the three most important words in the English language? What would you say?
Free, discount, and yes.
Spoken like a capitalist. Okay. Anyway,
I couldn't resist. Sorry.
yeah.
Okay.
So to me, I used to say the three most important words in the English language were "I love you." Well, I've changed my mind. The three most important words in the English language are you willing?
Okay. I like that.
If you're not willing, everything I've said before doesn't mean a damn thing and you can just ignore it. Because if you're not willing to permanently change your life for the rest of your hopefully very long, hopefully very happy, hopefully very healthy life, you're not going to get there. You're not going to get where you want to be. So are you willing to permanently change? The moment I became willing to permanently change, that's when I changed my life. See, now let me ask you, or let me tell you, it took me 49 and a half years to get to the point where I changed my life in an instant. When I help people learn that one thing about are you willing, it enables them to permanently change their life without waiting the 49 and a half years. You don't need to hit rock bottom. See, that's one of the things I always say, you got to hit rock bottom. No, you don't. You can change before you hit rock bottom. You just got to want to. You got to want it. You got to taste it. You got to feel it. You got to want it with every fiber. Then belief. If you believe you can or you believe you can't, either way, you're going to be right.
Yeah. Oh,
Well,
that's so key.
yeah. Well, I've already told you, you're more powerful than you ever imagined. Start believing it. And now that you're going to believe it, what are you going to do with that belief? Start kicking some butt. That's what you should do with that belief. You're more powerful than you ever imagined. Go for it. Yeah.
Now, what's number 20, Stanley?
20 is integration of mind, body, spirit. I'll give you an example. I'll show you this in a
Where it
picture.
all comes together.
Yes. This is
Okay.
a three-part yin yang, mind, body, spirit.
Love it.
If you see this little stick figure in the middle,
I see him. Yes.
that's where you want to be.
Got it.
You want to be equal parts mind, body, spirit. You want to be balanced. And while we're on the subject of balance, what is balance? If you had to define balance, how would you define it?
Equilibrium. Well, part of it is the well balancing. I'm going to use from your legal profession, Lady Justice. It's like you're balancing these
Okay,
elements.
scales.
Okay, that's one metaphor or analogy I'm going to look at is when I think of the Lady of Justice and I think of yin and yang, there's balance of good and bad, and or something that is peaceful. I also think of a Zen garden. I'm thinking
Okay.
of these images that come to mind.
Let me give you a definition that goes further than that. Balance is identifying everything that's deficient and increasing it. It's identifying everything that's excessive and decreasing it. That's balance. If you have too much, decrease it. Not enough, increase it. That's balance.
I like that.
Balance is not something you find. Balance is something you intentionally, consciously create. You have to intentionally, consciously create it. You get to intentionally, consciously create it. It is an opportunity for you. You can do it. Now, with all that said and done, all of this, the whole system, it's on my website, thewayofexcellence.com, which I
Love
hope
it.
you put in the show notes, thewayofexcellence.com. It's all there. There are videos on each part of the system. They're 8 to 12 minutes each. I recommend you march one a day. In less than a month, you'll have learned the whole system. And you can identify this. There are 9 of my books are on the website, and they're all available for free.
Love it.
The reason the stuff is free is the mission's more important than the money. It's not that I don't like money. I do. If somebody wants to hire me and work with me privately, I'm more than happy to let them hire me and work with me privately. But the information that is here is so valuable, people need to hear it. And it is my mission to get this information out there. And I don't want money to stand in the way. I want my message to be pure. You ask, where does heart stand in the system? My message comes from the heart.
I get it.
I care about you. I care about the human race. I care about this crazy, mixed up, incredibly wonderful world that we live in. And I want to see it get better. And the way it gets better is by every single one of us making ourselves better. And then when we all get better, we will collectively get better, and the world will collectively become a better place.
Stanley, I love your step by step, very pragmatic, methodical way of
I'm
addressing.
anal. I'm
Well, I
anal.
love it. I love it. It's so good. But I want to dig into some details.
Go
I've got
ahead.
several questions. Number one, I said I've struggled. I've gone up and down with my own weight loss and injuries. Athletics has never been a problem with me. I'm an ex-professional athlete. So I know about discipline for fitness. The diet part has been difficult for me to crack because of the misinformation or the multitude of information about what works. The diet. I listened to Jordan Peterson, who's a Canadian intellectual, and he lost all this weight through one steak a day. He talked about the carnivore diet, and you're the son of a butcher. How did you make
Yeah.
that distinction?
Okay. First of all, I want to add something to what you said. You said you've struggled with your weight in the past. Or no, I said you struggled with your weight.
Mm,
Well, you struggle with your weight in the past. The past is what you learn from, not where you live.
okay.
You live in the now. The Mitch who lives in the now has met Stanley Bronstein. The Mitch who lives in the now has access to Stanley Bronstein's website, thewayofexcellence.com, which has tons of free videos and information on healthy eating. There's a whole tab on the website, Our Healthy Eating System. First step, and the steps are numbered 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The first one is changing your identity, who you are, becoming a different person. If you have past traumas, past things that have made you into what you are, learning what those are, healing them, loving yourself, being kind to yourself, not beating yourself up. Okay. Then number two, it's 10 things that are probably keeping you from losing weight. Things like too much sodium in your diet, um, too much added sugar in your diet, not enough fiber in your diet, not getting enough sleep, not getting any exercise whatsoever. But there's 10 things that are on the list, and they're all there, and they work. And this is good information. See, what you told me Jordan Peterson did, I'm glad it worked for him. And my question would be, if I were talking to him right now, would be, I would say, first question I would say is, how old are you? I'm 66. I don't know how old he is.
I think he's about 63.
Okay,
63.
63, similar ages.
Yeah.
Okay. Come back in 50 years and let's have the discussion about where we're at. He might say, well, I don't know if I'm going to be alive in 50 years. Well, I'm going to tell you something right now. I don't know if I won't be either, but I plan on it.
Mm. So
I
what you do
eat.
is sustainable, you believe.
I eat like a man who wants to live another 100 years. As the saying goes, I plan to live forever or die trying.
Mm, mm.
And I want to be healthy during those years because it doesn't do you any good to live if you're not healthy. There's a term called lifespan, which is how long you live, and there's a term called health span, which is how long are you healthy enough to enjoy your life while you're living?
Two different measures.
Yeah. And I focus on health span. I want to be there. So the question is, where come back in 50 years and let's see who was right. Or another way I put it is, that's an interesting discussion. We can discuss it at your funeral.
Oh, that's a little harsh,
Yeah, but
Stanley.
because I plan, I'm not taking that against Jordan. I don't know the
Sure,
guy.
sure,
He might
sure.
be a perfectly lovely, nice guy. I'm just saying that was kind of a bad, nasty thing to say because it's not intended with. But the point is, I plan on living. I'm
So
playing.
what about,
I'm
okay,
playing an ultra long game here.
no,
Ultra
I
long.
get it. But if what do you say to the carnivore diet people? What do you say to the ketogenic people? Because it sounds like you're all vegan today and that works
Yes.
for you. Do you think there's anything to do with the blood types? I'm sure you've studied a lot of this. So
Yes, I
I'm
have.
challenging your experience.
I think I personally believe keto is not healthy. I've done it before. I mean, when I in college when I lost weight, that was on the keto diet. I lost like 70, 80 pounds on it. And the minute I stopped doing it, it all came back with a vengeance plus more. So the question is what you're doing sustainable? Are you willing to do it? And I also think it's hard on the kidneys. That's what a
Mm,
lot of the research says. Um, Processing all those ketones through your kidneys. That's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor. You're welcome to talk to your own doctor. If you come to me, I will recommend against the keto diet. Um, I had a woman I was working with. She was diabetic. Her
mm.
doctor put her on the keto diet. She was chronically constipated, miserable because she loved eating fruit and stuff like that, and totally unhappy. I told her to start eating oatmeal and fruit, chia seeds, hemp seeds, flax seeds, that kind of thing. Guess what? She started losing weight, constipation went away, and her blood sugar went down. And the doctor said, "What are you doing?" You know, it, I'm telling you what I've found works. Whatever you choose to do, I will support you. I will support you through the mindset part.
Mm.
But I personally question based upon my own lived experience, I question the sustainability of the keto diet. And a lot of it depends on what you're eating too. I mean, he sounds like he's eating a steak every day. I'm guessing he eats a good cut of steak. I'm
Yeah, he
guessing it's
does.
a good piece of meat. You know,
And
when I
just
did the
water.
keto, when I did the keto diet, I was eating bacon all day and cheese,
Mm.
and things like that. That's to me not as good. So a lot of it depends on what it is you're doing. He may be doing something that's perfectly fine. He might be. I don't know.
Do you drink coffee or did
No,
you
I do
ever?
not. I do not. I've never liked coffee.
Okay,
And I
so
and I and I quit drinking caffeine probably 30 years ago. I dated a girl who, when she did not have caffeine, she was the loveliest, sweetest girl you ever saw. When she had caffeine, she turned into a monster. And I sat there and I said, there's something to this caffeine stuff here. And so I stopped drinking it. I just quit and I haven't had I do not, I'm not an advocate of it. I do not think it's good. But once again, if somebody wants to drink their coffee, I'm not going to tell you not to do it. And there are doctors out there who will tell you to drink coffee every day. I personally don't agree with them, but I'm not going to tell you you're wrong. What I'm going to tell you is find something that works for you, that makes you happy, that makes you healthy, and keep doing it. I will be supportive. I'm not going to judge you. I'm not going to be an ass. I'm not going to shame you. I'm not going to do any of those things.
you
Everybody is different.
when you went on this journey 17 years ago, were you married at that time?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
So was your wife supportive through this process? Was she thin or was she heavy like you? Where does that, because that
She,
matters.
she, she's always been thin. Okay.
Okay.
I'll tell you another part of the conversation that we had February 1st, 2009. And I'll give a spoiler alert first. We're still married.
Okay.
Okay. But I'm going to tell you what we went through. I turned to her and I said, I'm going to start making some changes in my life. And you might like some of them and you might not like some of them. And frankly, I don't care. I have to make these changes or I'm going to be dead. And I don't want to be dead. And if you don't like the changes, that's too bad. I don't care. Second thing I told her was, I'm going on a journey. I am inviting you to come along the journey with me, on the journey with me. But if you don't, there's the door. You can walk out right now. I told her that. That I had what I call a moment of healthy selfishness. You know, when you get on an airplane, what do they tell you? If you're traveling with infants or small children, put your oxygen mask on first.
You're right.
I put my oxygen mask on first. And I said, too bad. You don't like it? Too bad. I'm doing this. And she stuck with me and we're still married. And to be honest with you, we get along better now than we did then.
How long had you been married at that point?
At that point, I guess that was 8 years. Okay. So now we've been 25 years. You know, but you need to stand up for yourself. Sometimes, see, and the problem is so many people were givers. I'm a giver. And we give, and give. Well, sometimes you need to stand up for yourself. You do. And put yourself first. That's what it's all about. And I advocate that.
Yeah, and I talk a lot about the mask on an airplane. You can't help anybody else if you're dead. You've got to take care of yourself first. Then you Then you get to help other people.
I'm a much better husband alive than I was if I were dead.
So true. So true. Well, Stanley, one more time, where do people get in touch with you? Hold up, if you wouldn't mind. Thewayofexcellence.com. Thewayofexcellence.com.
Yes.
Type all kinds of free resources. I looked at your site before our conversation today. You've been an outstanding guest, and I loved all the little cards. And I think so will my listeners, and I'm going to put a good reference in the show notes for this. You've been an outstanding guest. I've said that 3 times, and you have been. Loved it. Personally,
you can say it again.
Okay, thewayofexcellence.com. Stanley Bronstein has been our guest. He's a CPA, he's an attorney, and he's a life change implementer. He's a life change coach, a life change guide, the Sherpa for you and your health and well-being and longevity. So many bombs you've dropped today, and I can't wait for us to run it through AI and come out and extract all these nuggets. It's been terrific to have you as a guest.
If you just go to my website, you don't need to extract them.
Okay, well, there you go. I appreciate all the contributions. Stanley, we'll have you back in the future, and I've got a whole host of clients that I've taught the podcasting journey to that would love to have you as a guest on their show.
Thank you, Mitch.
Thanks for tuning in to the Amazing Authorities Podcast. If today's episode inspired you, take a moment to subscribe, rate, and leave a review. It helps more experts like you rise to the top. For behind-the-scenes access and free resources to boost your authority, head to MitchCarson.com. Until next time, stay amazing.